There is a financial decision you made, maybe years ago, maybe longer, and it still shows up. Not every day, but enough. It shows up at 2 a.m. when you can't sleep. It shows up when you see something on your bank statement. It shows up when someone asks how you're doing, and you say fine. Maybe it was a loan you co-signed that went wrong, an investment that seemed certain at the time, a business you started or didn't start, a house bought at the wrong moment, a partnership that ended badly. That decision has become part of how you talk about yourself. It has become a story you carry, and the story is, I should have known better. But here is what two very different traditions, one Roman, one ancient Chinese, both understood about regret. The story isn't what happened. The story is what you tell yourself about what happened. And that story, you can rewrite. Psychologists call it the sunk cost fallacy, but that name doesn't quite capture what it actually feels like. What actually happens is this. A decision goes wrong, money is lost, or trust is lost, or time, which is just a different kind of money. And the brain, trying to protect itself, begins a process that feels like learning, but isn't. It replays the decision, over and over, looking for the exact moment it went wrong, as if finding that moment will somehow undo it. Research calls this ruminative thinking, and it has a cost. People who ruminate on a single financial mistake are significantly less likely to make new financial decisions at all. Not because they are unconfident in general, but because the replaying brain has attached that one decision to their identity. The mistake stopped being something that happened. It became something they are. I am someone who makes bad decisions with money. I am someone who trusted the wrong person. I am someone who should have seen it coming. These are not descriptions of what happened. They are identities built around a single data point. And identities, once formed, are extraordinarily resistant to being updated. And so the regret creates paralysis. You see an opportunity. And the first thought is, what if I'm wrong again? You hold back, you hedge, you choose inaction, which is itself a decision. And the regret compounds. Two civilizations diagnosed exactly this pattern, and both built a tool to break it. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in the known world. He was also, by his own account, someone who made mistakes. He couldn't undo, he wrote about them, privately, in a journal he never intended for publication. What he wrote became the Meditations, and inside it is one of the most practical frameworks for financial regret ever written. Though it was never called that, he called the practice amor fati, amor fati, love of fate, but the translation barely captures what he meant. Amor fati is not acceptance of what happened. It is not resignation. It is something more active. It is the deliberate choice to treat everything that has happened, including your worst decisions, as the precise foundation you needed for what comes next. But this happened, and it is therefore part of the foundation on which I stand. The distinction matters. Acceptance is passive. It leaves the mistake as something that was done to you. Amor fati makes it yours. You absorb it, you claim it, you build from it. Marcus Aurelius also practiced what the Stoics called premeditatio malorum. Premeditatio malorum. Premeditation of the bad things. Before any significant decision, a Stoic would sit with a scroll or a wax tablet and deliberately imagine every way it could go wrong. Not to be pessimistic, not to talk themselves out of it, but so that if it did go wrong, they had already been there. The mistake could not define them because they had already chosen how they would respond to it. There is also memento mori. Memento mori. Remember that you will die, not morbid, clarifying. If your life is finite, and it is, then spending it replaying a decision that cannot be changed is a choice. About how to use the time you have left. Marcus Aurelius chose differently. He wrote about it, he named it, and he moved. Across the world, in a different century, a different philosopher was arriving at the same place. Confucius lived in the 6th century BC. He is remembered for ethics, for social order, for the nature of virtue. But in the Analects, his collected teachings, there is a practice that speaks directly to financial regret. One of his students, Zhengzi, described his daily ritual. 3 questions, every evening, before sleep. The 3 questions. Read each one slowly. Pause after each. The viewer is meant to apply these to themselves in real time. Question 1. In transacting business for others, have I been faithful? Question 2. In intercourse with friends, have I been sincere? Question 3. Have I mastered and practiced the instructions of my teacher? These sound like moral questions, and they are. But they are also something more practical. Zhengzi's practice is a nightly audit. Not a punishment, not a shaming, not a replay of what went wrong. An honest accounting, a forward-facing examination. The Confucian term for this practice is mei ri san xing wu shen. Mei ri san xing wu shen. Daily self-examination on 3 points. Here is the difference between this and the regret loop. The regret loop asks, where did I go wrong? The Confucian daily practice asks, what do I do from here? The regret loop is retrospective. It keeps the decision alive in the present. The daily audit is perspective. It closes the ledger on yesterday and opens the ledger on tomorrow. Both Marcus Aurelius and Confucius understood the same thing. A mistake examined honestly becomes information. A mistake examined obsessively becomes a prison. The practice that follows from both of them is the same. Write it down once. In writing that you actually have to look at. Both traditions said the same thing. Write it down, but writing it down in the right way. The mistake audit is one page. You do it once. You never reopen it. Question 1. What was the decision? Name it exactly. No euphemisms. Question 2. What did I actually know at the time? Not what you wish you had known, what you knew. Question 3. Given what I knew then, was the decision reasonable? Be honest, not generous, honest. Question 4. What is the one rule I take from this for every future decision? That is the Stoic amor fati applied to paper. That is the Confucian daily examination applied once, permanently, to a decision you need to stop carrying. The most important question is the fourth one. Because the rule, your personal financial rule extracted from your own worst decision, that is the point of the whole exercise, not the self-forgiveness, not the closure, the rule. The mistake becomes a compass. Pause here, screenshot this. 4 questions, 1 page, 1 time. That is the mistake audit. After you do it, 2 things happen. The first thing is small and immediate. The replaying stops, or at least it stops being involuntary, because you have already done the review. You have closed the ledger. There is nothing left to discover by replaying it again. The second thing is larger and takes time. You start to see the decision differently, not as the worst thing you did, but as the decision that produced the rule you now carry. This is amor fati. The mistake is not despite which you move forward, it is. Research on financial regret shows 2 patterns. People who process a bad decision and extract a specific learning from it tend to make better decisions. In the 2 years after, more considered, more likely to research, less likely to react under emotional pressure. People who ruminate without extracting a specific learning tend toward avoidance. Fewer decisions, more deferred choices, more invisible financial paralysis. The difference between these 2 groups is not intelligence, it is not willpower. It is whether they had a process. Marcus Aurelius had a process, he called it amor fati. Zhengzi had a process, he called it daily self-examination. You now have a process. 4 questions, 1 page, 1 time. The decision you made cannot be unmade. That is true. What Marcus Aurelius understood, and what Confucius's student Zhengzi practiced every night, is that the relationship you have with that decision is not fixed. You can keep carrying it as evidence of who you are, or you can transform it into the rule that guides what you do next. Amor fati, more T, love of fate, not because the mistake was good, but because it is now yours. And what you do with what is yours, that is who you are. Write down the decision. Answer the 4 questions. Extract the rule, and then put it away. That ledger is now closed. Marcus Aurelius figured this out and wrote it in a private journal 2,000 years ago. Zhengzi asked himself 3 questions every night for decades. You now know what they knew. Shout it.
If you liked this video, like and subscribe for more ancient wealth wisdom.